This is Bill Leverton, News Center 10, on the Arizona Road. I'd like you to meet, well, the Picasso of the pachyderms. 2 tons of unexpected talent, Ruby the Asian elephant. In an effort to keep her from getting bored, her human handlers discovered she has a penchant for painting. When strangers like myself come into Ruby's domain, her studio, so to speak, she likes to get acquainted. This is done by smelling you and blowing at you. Only hope she doesn't have a runny nose. When they tell Ruby she's going to do some painting, she gets excited. When humans get excited, we jump up and down. Ruby does this with her trunk.
Pick a brush.
Ruby picks whatever brush suits her fancy, then apparently discriminates and picks a color that suits her fancy.
Red. Good girl. All right, take it and paint. Oh, easy.
We evaluated 80 of these paintings, and in 82% of these paintings, she preferred the color red and an 80% blue. And then there was a drop off to 60% yellow, and then the rest of the colors were pretty much around 40%.
She approaches the canvas. She's in a feisty mood this morning, so we have bold, sweeping strokes, bright colors slashing across the canvas.
We'd look around and we'd see some of these colors that she had used in her paintings. And as this happened more and more frequently, we were wondering if this was just a coincidence or if, in fact, she was making these selections for a reason.
Paint.
Another color now, a critical eye, pleased with the splashes of color on this moody and rainy day. Now, here are some examples of her other paintings. A new art form, maybe, a sort of elephant abstract.
She's kind of controlling the whole thing. You know, she gets to choose, she decides when she's done, and since she enjoys it so much, we just, you know, it's a good thing for her to do. It's a good, positive interaction for us to work with her.
Well, we first met Ruby, the painting elephant, a few months back, and at that time we came to think of her as a sort of Picasso of the pachyderms. Well, this unexpected, trendy, and definitely cosmopolitan new artist has definitely done the more famous painter one better. After all, did Picasso have a one-man show at a reputable art gallery when he was less than 20 years old? Well, that's what's happening to Ruby. 32 of her best are being hung at the Bishop Gallery along Scottsdale's artsy Main Street for Ruby's One Elephant Show, which will be held this Saturday afternoon. Bill Bishop here has already sold several, going in the range from $250 to $650.
The work has real quality, I think. As far as I know, she's the first elephant painter that has ever been exhibited. They discovered that she had artistic ability because they watched her pick up sticks and draw in the dust. And then they started supplying her with paint and cardboard and found that she really enjoyed it and had talent. It's a good combination of colors and composition. I've seen things that were less pleasing on walls of major museums, and I mean that quite literally.
Which one do you want?
Ruby actually goes through the process of selecting a paintbrush, then a favorite color. Her preference seems to run to reds and blues, and this activity has led to closer study to see if she actually does distinguish between colors. Ruby is a moody artist, brisk and bold one day, slower, more pensive on others, but she is the master of a definitive new form of abstract, and each of her renditions is definitely different, as art enthusiasts are going to be able to see at this show. I suppose you must be pleased to get an artist of this stature.
Absolutely, absolutely. She's certainly the most impressive one I've ever worked with.
Proceeds from the sales will go to the Phoenix Zoo Conservation Fund to further studies of endangered species, of which, unfortunately, Ruby is one. Now, wouldn't that be a kick if one of the endangered species actually helped preserve herself? In the past, I called her the Picasso of the pachyderms, and I did so somewhat facetiously. I mean, it's kind of hard to take seriously anything that weighs 4 tons, lumbers along in a cloud of dust, and screams incoherently at the top of her voice and picks up carrots off the ground and eats them whole. I mean, give me a break. This is not a sensitive creature. But after a recent visit with Ruby the painting elephant at the Phoenix Zoo, I now call her that in all seriousness. It was but a few years ago when we spent a rainy morning with Ruby, who apparently gets a lot of pleasure out of splashing paint over canvas in bold and colorful strokes, and colors her keepers believe she can see and choose, red and blue being by far her favorites. Well, a bold and critical eye from an unexpected corner.
She's an exceptional elephant. She has raised a whole bunch of questions through the fact that she has learned how to paint. Her paintings have been celebrated worldwide. She did learn how to paint in 1987. She picks her own colors. She picks her own brushes. She does the canvases all by herself.
You might also remember that in 1990, Ruby held her first art show along Scottsdale's artsy Main Street at the Bishop Gallery.
A good combination of colors and composition. I've seen things that were less pleasing on walls of major museums, and I mean that quite literally.
Dick George has just published a book about Ruby and her paintings. Dick, as the Phoenix Zoo's photographer, has followed the career of Ruby since she was a baby and tells us since that first art show,
her paintings and her lithographs, including one that was offered by Neiman Marcus a number of years ago, have brought in a total of over $450,000.
All that money goes into the zoo's conservation fund to help preserve endangered species. And since Ruby is a member of an endangered species, isn't it ironic she may actually be helping to save herself? Ah, Ruby the painting elephant. They first noticed her picking up sticks out here in the main yard and drawing patterns in the dust. Now, she's an artist of some stature. This is Bill Leverton, News Center 10, on the Arizona Road.